Let's get you up to speed now with developments coming out of the Palm Ridge Magistrates Court today. The former ANC spokesperson Pule Mabe now addressing the media. This is following the postponement of his case. Let's listen in.
Where he went beyond his normal call of duty, making us understand these processes and the lengthiness of time that they may take. It was out of advice with him, together with our senior counsel, who's not here today, senior counsel Ramaidi, who's acting on us in the civil case, and now senior counsel Katz, who's also acting on our behalf, putting an application in the High Court, one dealing with the status of the proclamation, as well as a forensic report done by the Special Investigating Unit, pursuant to provisions of Section 74 of 1996, read alongside Section 1 to Section 6. But again, exercising rights enjoined by ourselves on Section 33, 34, and 35 of the Constitution, as well as Section 1C of the Constitution and all other relevant sections of the Constitution. Having studied all of this material and having understood the facts before us and the work that we have done, and without necessarily veering into the merits and demerits of the case, understanding that over 90 beneficiaries who represent cooperatives in Gauteng have received the motorized three-wheelers in question. The fact that these motorized three-wheelers are registered on the traffic system, on the e-notice system of the Republic of South Africa, that yourself, Slindelo, from ENCA, can also go if you want to check if these are cars that are permitted to drive on the road. An allegation is being made in one of the affidavits about the defects of the cars and whether they are drivable or not. It's a matter that we will ventilate at the right platform. We could be empowered. You see, participating in various other trades, being professionals ourselves, we always learn. There are things that a person who studied journalism is taught. He's taught what we are doing now, how to hold a microphone, how to ask questions, such things. A forensic auditor is also taught the same thing. They are not law enforcement officers. That is why the relevant sections of the SI as law enforcement officers, where the opening of cases are involved and all of that, such remains a purview of the South African Police Services in line with the relevant prescripts of the South African Police Services Act. So a number of things ought to have been understood. For instance, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, I've said to my party, the ANC, through my Secretary General, Comrade Fikile Mbalula, whom I duly respect and have had the honor of knowing and working with for over 20 years, that I will not be running this case in the media. But they are matters of fact. I have had some of your journalists misrepresent facts. They did so because when we don't talk to them, they rely on what they've read about and what they know. So the fact is that the 200 motorized three-wheelers have been delivered. That's a fact. It won't change. Even if Jesus Christ was coming tomorrow, that won't change. Can you allow me to speak and just conclude? It may help you. It will actually empower you. You might benefit more just by allowing me to speak. I usually don't speak to journalists. I exercise what is called Section 34 and 35 in the Constitution. Remember, my right to remain silent is a constitutional right. So sometimes when journalists call us and we don't respond, they get surprised. And when they get surprised, I ask myself that when I did practice of journalism and media law, one of the things I was taught is that when people decide not to talk to you, they are exercising a right that is granted to them by the Constitution. So when I don't talk to journalists, even where they place me at scenes where I might not even have known persons. I might have been there for the first time, or I might have been there with a group of friends trying to drive a narrative that I could otherwise be something else. You see, because I'm not Jan van Riebeeck and because I'm still alive, I'm capable to speak for myself. Speaking for myself does not necessarily I'm either innocent. You know, just we must thank the Court of South Africa. It says we are presumed innocent until proven otherwise. The date of the 18th of February, and I said this to my wife, come here, madam. I said this to my wife, that the amount of emotional pressure that myself, my two beautiful children, my family, those who stand by us, the clergy, our church, had enjoyed out of us going through this has been too much. There could be those who want us to rush this. Nelson Mandela himself submitted himself for over 27 years to get his freedom. We are not Nelson Mandela, and we do not want to become him. I am Pule Mabe. I understand my case for what it is. We'll put forward our facts. My wife, charged alongside me, where we need to ask for further particulars to understand which law or section defines her as a servant, we can be empowered, and how she became a wrongful beneficiary of a legitimate sale that arose out of the arrangement that was led by her husband. Those things are being ventilated. The first initial phase of doing that is through the reps. Would not have done the reps at the time without understanding the fullness of the docket. Now that we have got disclosure, if we want to ask for further particulars, we may do so. These things, at least the good thing about South Africa is that it has got a solid constitution which allows us to do all of these things that we may elect to do in pursuance of freedom and justice. It's a lonely road, I must say. Some of our comrades want to see us in gatherings. I mean, one day I was attending a gathering, surprised. The comrades were so jovial, you know, all of them wanting to greet, pose with us for photos and all of that. My reminder to them, because they've got television, they've got radios in their homes, is that the path to freedom is not a short one. It requires resilience. They must also know that the graveside of revolutionaries is always on the side of the road. Fighting for freedom and fighting for privilege are two different things. They must distinguish themselves. In their branch general meetings, where they want to be elected to occupy positions I've had the honor and privilege for occupying for over 30 years of my life as a 45-year-old. They must do so with resilience, with humility, with discipline. They must also know that one day they might find themselves having to explain their participation in certain economic activities. That must not pull them back. We wish all of them well, where conferences are sitting of the ANC, and we say they must behave well. Our people still trust in the African National Congress. I did not leave the ANC because I'm suddenly facing a charge. The ANC did not put a charge against me here. I am a bona fide member of the African National Congress. I've renewed my membership. I will remain a member of this organization. My blood is red. So I'm not going to give my blood colors of organizations. My blood is not black, green, and gold. My blood is red. My blood and your blood are the same. But I have submitted myself in terms of association to the African National Congress. I'm not about to leave the ANC. I will remain in the ANC. It will be a conviction in this court that takes away my membership. For as long as I live, I belong to that organization. I subject myself to its discipline and all of that. I don't belong to leaders of the ANC. I belong to the ANC. If tomorrow we're voting, I will vote for the African National Congress. This is an organization that I knew from when I was 11 years old. This is an organization I knew when my grandmother received her long service award of being the first female mine worker at the Palabora Mining Company back in 1989. Already, I'd understood that there's a man fighting for our freedom called Oliver Tambo, called Nelson Mandela, and many of their peers. I asked a question back in 1990, why I had to sing for my teacher to having gone to London to study to become a librarian. And because I developed an attitude on this song, I could not sing it so well, but I looked handsome like I still do in my school uniform. They made me stand in front.
So that is the former ANC spokesperson Pule Mabe there addressing the media. This is at the back of the postponement of his corruption case there. Goes on to say that he will not be running this case through the media, and says there his wife, he feels that is being persecuted for what he says is benefiting from a legitimate deal that was organized by her husband. And this is also on the sidelines of that postponement of the matter that has now been moved to the 18th of February, which is on a Wednesday.